So it's June 1966. I'm just finishing up college at Seattle University. I've got my first CPA job, and I'm off to a client's office, and I have to do the cash work. And it has to get done that day. It's a Friday night, and it has to be done by the morning. And so I tell the office that I'm going to have to be late. Can somebody stay around to let me out? And as I'm working, I notice this blonde over in the corner, and pretty good-looking lady. And I finished my work, and I said, what are you still hanging around for? And she says, well, for you. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm waiting for you to take me out for a drink. And so we went out for a drink, and she loves scotch. Can you imagine that? A college girl who drinks nothing but scotch on the rocks. That's what I drink. And then we had a couple drinks, and then I took her home in my car, an old beat-up car. And she got out of the car and got into her apartment before I could even get her name. So the next morning I called the company and I said, there was a blonde who worked just outside the president's office. Who was that woman? She says, oh, that was me. And I said, oh. I said, well, we had a good time last night, I think. Would you like to go out again? She said, well, I can't go out with you for 2 more days because I'm dating a disc jockey and I've got to tell him that it's over. And so 2 days later, we went out and drank some more scotch. And the courtship began, and within 10 months, we were married. One of the things is when you're dealing as a trans woman or whatever you want to call yourself, when do you tell the fiancé about your personal relationships? So I decided to tell her after we were married, hoping that she would accept it. I had a bra slip made out of blue lace that was just beautiful. It was my favorite possession. So it was in the bedroom, so I went upstairs and got it. And I came down with it in my hands, and I showed it to my wife as a kind of a peace offering and tried to explain that I was really a cross-dresser, and I hoped she could accept it. There was just complete silence. From that day on, there was never any mention of my being a cross-dressing person. What that did was it left an elephant in the room for the next 44 years. Unspoken, but passively there. I can remember one time I left a pair of pink panties in the dryer. I didn't know I'd done that, but the next day those pink panties were put on top of my jockey shorts. That was her way of saying, I know. She was with me for 44 years. She would go to church with me every Sunday. We lived all over the United States. We traveled all over the world. She never had to work because I had a good job. I remember one time I got fired. I was going to be paid for a year. And so she had been in California, and she came back, and she said, how was your week? And I said, well, I was fired. And she said, well, what are we going to do? And I said, well, I thought we'd go to Europe. And we just drove around Europe for like 4 weeks. And that was the kind of life that she had. She could do what she wanted, and conversely, I could do what I wanted. I got the better part of the marriage. I got the relationship. She was always there for me. She would move whenever I had to move. And so all I could do was try to make her life as good as possible. You have to be true to yourself. This isn't something I can bite a stick and change. I am who I am. And so what I've got to do is figure out how to make that work with my family relationships. And that means being honest, but understanding the potential of rejection on the other side is great. And what you really got to do is make the best of the good times and just alleviate the bad times.